Hey, this is Tiqqle, and in this video we're talking about Dragonflight and the Shaman Talent Tree that's not out yet, but it will. So go ahead and hop off that Ret Paladin or those DHs and get back to Elemental Shaman, because there's a few things that they might bring back from the past that were pretty awesome. So we're going to jump into my top guesses that I think would be awesome to include in that talent tree. But before we jump into it, I want to give a shout out to my best friend Garf, who's supported this stream, supported this channel the entire time I've been doing this for years and years. He started a business for dice. If you like Dungeons & Dragons dice, those funny 20-sided dice, you should go ahead and check out the link down below. He is really doing something, a local business, but I'm trying to give him a shout out here to help him out. Go ahead and check out the link and check out the crazy dice that he's able to produce. Now, guys, let's go ahead and jump into the video. Number one, this is something that was kind of overpowered back then, but I actually think that this is something in PvP that would make a pretty big difference for Elemental Shaman, especially with the amount of disruption they can already do. I think this would bring them to the next level. It's Earth Fury. This is where you had, when you used your Max Maelstrom, Earthshock, it gave them a 2-second stun that was not on a diminishing return on the enemy. Now, this was able to be used as an interrupt, but really, I mean, you could really just use it as the kill shot, because a 2-second non-DR stun is pretty freaking OP. But so as much as I kind of guessed that it would be removed, I think now, honestly, the fact that LAs don't have a one-shot with the Vesper Totems, I think that this is something that would be really nice to bring back in to Shaman. Now, I don't see how it could be that useful for PvE, as that stun utility is not really anything to gawk at, but I still think it would be cool to have that back, at least from a PvP side, but back into the tree to some degree. Now, the next one, and I bet you're surprised I didn't start with this one, Gust of Wind. Now, if you did not play LA Shaman and Legion, you missed out on some of the most fun utility, and there's other things that I have suggested coming up from Legion, because that was such a time to shine for Elemental Shaman. Now, Gust of Wind was basically like a blink, but it actually propelled you through the air, as you can see in some of these clips. Now, this was something I didn't really think of at the time, that I would love it so much or I'd miss it so much, but I do. Being able to propel yourself forward either into combat, which is one great way to use it, or out of combat, you know, thunderstorming people away and then jumping was awesome. And in PvE, I'm sure that utility is beneficial as well. Now, Blizzard did take away this utility from us after Legion, pretty much noting that Ghost Wolf was basically enough. Now, I disagree. I think Gust of Wind was the number one. If you ask people what they want back, this will be in their top 5 no matter what. So that's something I really hope they bring back. It could be seen as having value in PvE, I guess, as well. Now, another thing that was in Legion, it was a talent, was Earth Grab Totem. This is something that Resto Shamans had and LA Shamans had. Kind of crazy, but still, it's very good, and I wish that it would come back some way to make either a new totem, Earth Grab Totem, or make your Earth Bind have a chance to root them. I think that is another great idea, going to back to Wrath of the Lich King. Back in the Wrath of the Lich King days, now that I was able to jump into the Wrath Beta, had so many flavorful things that I was like, oh my goodness, this was LA Shaman back then? And then it was removed. So I think that would be one great thing from a utility perspective, but it also could be useful in Mythic Pluses to root, you know, necrotic mobs away from your tank, etc. Not that game-breaking, but still pretty cool and fun to use, to be honest. Another thing, as everyone loves the meatballs on the LA Shaman, Elemental Fission. Now, this was increasing the chance to proc Lava Surge. As Ellie has gone through the ages, we've seen Flame Shock come off cooldown, go back on cooldown, the proc rate get adjusted, and going into Shadowlands, we actually saw a kind of some sad things happen to the proc rate and cap, and still on a CD, Flame Shock. Now, I'll be honest, the procs of Lava Bursts are some of the most satisfying things for me when playing Elemental Shaman. I think just overall, that's just something I love about the spec, something that procs and gives you something to do. Oh, now press a button. Oh, popped up again. Oh, you start dishing them out, and you're able to run and do that. Makes Elemental Shaman one of the most mobile casters on the street, and it makes them very disruptive as well. I'm able to chase people and keep pumping them without having to hard cast things like a silly Destro Warlock. Now, we don't one-shot people like Destro Warlocks, but still, this was something, Elemental Fusion, you could spec into it. You might lose some other things, but I would almost rather them have this as an alternative to Primal Elementalist than Surge of Power. Surge of Power is such a complicated thing. Get it out of here. Just give me this 5%. Give me that passive. Let's go to freaking work. Okay. Now that's something I think that there's a very good chance they could bring this back. Now Earth Grab Totem, probably a lower chance. Earth Fury maybe. Gust of Wind absolutely is coming back. Like, there's no chance Blizzard doesn't bring that back, right, Ian? Right, Mike? Yep, I'm watching you guys. The next one, I think, is a no-brainer. I left it towards the end because it's something that there's no way they don't consider this. There's no way someone at Blizzard hasn't said this. Going back, I mean, it's been there forever, is Elemental Mastery. Now, if you only played Ellie Shaman more recently, you probably are like, what are you talking about? Was that the Mastery? No. Listen, Elemental Mastery was an on-use cooldown. It was like, you know how we have Stormkeeper and we think it does big damage, but it doesn't? This is an example of something that when you press it, this is going to make you pump. And that is something that Elemental Shaman is missing, in my opinion, in PvE and PvP. But across the board, we don't have a button that when we press it, people are scared. People actually act like they're scared of Stormkeeper, but it's not even scary. It's not. I don't care what you say. Not that scary. Urshocks, I don't know what happened to him. The legs got cut out from under him. But I'll tell you, a lot of people went over to DH, went to Fury Warrior, went to Ret Paladin after those Urshock just tickles them. Pun intended. Now, Elemental Mastery is this. When activated, this spell gives your next Fire, Frost, or Nature spell a 100% crit strike chance and reduces the mana cost by 100%. Now, allowing you to get 100% crit. Now, to be honest with you, Stormkeeper should just do this. Stormkeeper should just should be like 100% crit. But anyway, I digress. This gives you 100% crit chance and reduces the mana cost by 100. I think it also gives you a haste buff, I believe. But now that is something that would be, you get the increased, crit chance, you get increased haste. We already had that working with Sky Fury, that working with certain things, give us big pump. Especially when we're trying to either execute a kill in PvP or do a huge pull, and we have a great opportunity to use a big old cooldown. Right now, Stormkeeper, Storm Ellie, I don't know, to me in Mythic Plus, that's fun, but I'm bored of it. Like, let's move on. We got to get some more flair in our repertoire. Now, let's go ahead and go to the next thing. We've seen some return of utility coming into the raids. Mark of the Wild, I'm guessing that's not going to be the end of bringing back buffs, bringing back raid utility. And one of the classes that has no raid utility is an Elemental Shaman. That Shaman used to bring some utility. Doesn't anymore. Totems are just gone. They're just not useful. We've oversimplified. But Totem of Wrath is an opportunity for Blizzard to bring back a totem that would be actually useful. This used to even be a passive of some degree, but this is Totem of Wrath from Wrath, the talent tree. Summons a Totem of Wrath with 5 health, of course. Our totems can't have more than the number of HP points on a frickin' hand. The totem increases the chance to hit and critically strike with spells by 3%. There you go. That would be great utility, unique utility that an Elemental Shaman could bring. Enhanced Shaman brings Wind Fury. Resto Shaman, Spirit Link, but Ellie brings nothing. So it is, without pure damage, they don't really bring a whole lot. Now, those are some things I think would really help PvE and PvP. Bring people back. Make people excited. I mean, that's the thing. That's what Blizzard needs to focus on, in my opinion. They need to make people stop playing other classes. Stop being on a Boomkin and Esprits. Get back to your main Ellie Shaman. I think a lot of people are very discouraged, given the kind of current state of things, that they're not playing Shaman, and they usually do, but they're just face rolling on a DH. I mean, I get it. I understand why you're doing it, but still. Now, the last thing that I'll call out here now, and there are so many to call out, your entire legion legendaries, your BFA everything, your Azerite traits, all that stuff, or all the legendaries. Now, I'm not bringing those up right now because, to be honest with you, that is very easy for Blizzard to reuse those things. We're going to see some of those things, absolutely. These are things that I don't think that are always brought up, that could be brought back, that could be really cool, and it would make the class bump up a level. I think a lot of the legendary effects were kind of like, all right, yeah, like we could opt into these things, they're cool, whatever. But these are new abilities. Like, everything I've talked about here, except for Ellie Fusion, Earth Fury, I guess, are kind of buttons you press and they do something, which is what we need. I really feel like for Ellie Shaman. I think from a playstyle, it's very, very, very simple. You know, very simple rotation. But from a utility, we need a little bit more utility or a little bit more packing a punch, a burst. Ellie does not have the burst of almost every other caster in the game. Boomkins have Incarn, mages have Icy Veins / Combust. I could just Shadow Form. What else? Pretty much, yeah, each of them. I know I'm forgetting some caster. Oh yeah, Destro Warlock, Dark Soul on every spec. I mean, come on. Like, LA Shaman's got none of that. It does have a short interrupt, does have knockback, does have Grinding Totem utility in PvP, but come on. We need to be able to pack the huge punch. People should be terrified of us, and I really hope that we do get those buttons. Now, the last one I'll bring up is Voodoo Totem. I thought this was such a cool ability, actually useful in PvE as well. It basically puts it down to Totem. Voodoo Totem places it down. It turns everyone in the circle into a frog. If they go out of the totem, they, you know, are unfrogged, or if they get touched, they get frogged. But I think that was just really cool, and I think it was, I mean, it was pretty strong. Like, those are one of the things that you're like, oh, damn. Because you could use it in PvP as an interrupt or in other ways to, like, disrupt. Again, all about disruption for that LA Shaman, as we well know. So those are my 7 guesses. Now, some of you are going to be like, Tiqqle, you didn't bring up tier sets, legendaries. Like I said, some of those I'm expecting to be there. These are things that I think of more outliers that you probably didn't think of that aren't going to be on the short list, right? Like all the legendaries, the Covenant abilities. I'll be honest with you, I don't want to see a single Covenant ability in any of the trees. I know DK already has grabby hands, but Boomkins have Convoke, but I'll be honest, I think those abilities are not core class abilities. I think that they're very much Covenant related, and I want to break away from that. I don't think that that's, I don't like that. I don't like it at all. I think it's not a good idea. It bleeds us over into dragging Shadowlands on. I think that the Shadowlands in general has a pretty bad connotation to it. Dragging those forward, or people are just going to like face palm and be like, oh yeah, Convoke, here we go again. I would almost rather them rebrand it or something, because it's just going to be a remembrance of a sad time. But that's about it. I just want to make a quick video on the 7 guesses or things that I would like to see in the talent tree. We'll be seeing the talent tree soon, I promise you that. But without any further ado, again, shout out to Garf and his dice business. Check out the links down below. He actually has a streamer series, and he has me up there as the first set of dice on that for the Tiqqle set. So we'll be giving away some dice as well, guys, in the next few weeks. Check out the stream for more details on the giveaway. We have some hats. We have some dice we're going to be giving away. So with that being said, guys, we'll see you in the next video or on stream still 6 days a week, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, twitch.tv/TiqqleThis. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.